Well, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'd love to talk about EVs at another time here. I wish we had a tax credit that actually worked that we passed. But let's talk about extremely serious issue this morning. And I'm glad my friend raised the issue of Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and what might happen. Let me just quote again what he said yesterday to the press. No one should assume that the Fed can really protect the economy and the financial system or our reputation globally from the damage that a U.S. default might inflict. We shouldn't even be talking about a world in which the U.S. doesn't pay its bills. I think it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I just came from an agriculture committee meeting, Mr. Chairman, and I can tell you it was on credit and crop insurance, and nobody there thought it was a good idea for farmers and ranchers to see their interest rates go up, which will happen. So this is a very, very serious thing. And unfortunately, we know that last week, House Republicans pushed our country closer to this default, this catastrophic default and chaos that would arise from it. And I think over and over again that we need to stress that while Republican colleagues are concerned about the debt, we know that about 25% of all the debt of the country ever came from 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency, of which folks voted for. But at that time, it was about billionaires and large corporations getting big tax cuts. So if we want to have a real discussion about revenues and spending, that's great. That's great. Let's do that. Don't default, but let's have that debate about what's fair for the majority of American people, including the fact that the largest corporations and billionaires should just pay their fair share like everybody in Michigan. That's all. We just want folks to pay their fair share. But instead, we are seeing this bill, the Default on America Act, targeting millions of working families. So many things I don't even know, Mr. Chairman, how to go through all of them. I will just mention 3. 1 million seniors no longer getting Meals on Wheels. Actually, that's a pretty big deal if you want to eat for an awful lot of seniors that are homebound in our country. 30,000 law enforcement jobs gone. What does that do to our public safety? 80,000 VA jobs. How do we do veterans health care if that's cut? And when we talk about all of this, 7 million jobs lost, unemployment over 8%, more than double, higher mortgage, car payments, lower 401ks, and so on and so on. This is not a good idea. When we're coming out of a pandemic, we're seeing the fastest growth ever in a generation, which is extraordinary, actually, after all of this. We're bringing jobs home. In my state, we are cheering about creating manufacturing jobs. And then we want to put the country in a default? Only people that want chaos and want to play politics would even be considering this. So let me just ask, one area that is so great that we are seeing right now is the number of increases in small businesses. We're really seeing a renaissance in small business. More than 12,000 new small business applications were submitted just in April. And Mr. Zandi, I wonder if you might speak to how the environment for small business owners would change in the event of a default.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And yeah, it is amazing, the small business formation we've seen during the pandemic. It's the it's one very significant bright spot in our economy. And it's across all industries and all regions of the country, really quite incredible to see. But I do fear that small businesses are now under a significant threat. I mean, of course, the banking crisis is a very serious problem because many small banks that are under a lot of pressure provide credit to small business. I mean, when I started my company, I got my loan from Malvern Federal Savings, my first loan from Malvern Federal Savings Bank, 3 branches, still operating in Malvern, Pennsylvania. So that they're already under a lot of pressure, and with a debt default, the problems here are going to be magnified many times over. The banking crisis will continue on. The availability of credit, the cost of credit will become prohibitive. I think it's going to be very difficult for small businesses to not only operate and thrive, but to actually survive. We will, instead of seeing a significant increase in formation, see a significant increase in bankruptcy and default. I think we should buckle in for some of that anyway, even without the debt limit drama. But with the drama and a breach, that would just be over the top, I think, for small business.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I would just say the message we should send today to our Republicans in the House is don't default. Come and work with us within the budget process, within appropriations process, within the Farm Bill process. Some of what they did is actually Farm Bill jurisdiction. We'll have that debate. We'll have that debate during the Farm Bill. But don't create chaos in an American economy that's just beginning to thrive here. Thank you.
Which adds the additional benefit of public daylight rather than backroom dealings.
Absolutely.
Senator Romney.